yeah, whatever you want me to do with anything. If you want me to do nothing, that's fine too. Like, I'm good to do whatever. But thank you for telling me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can use any of the information that I give you.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't really.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
So basically, the whole situation started, like kind of towards the beginning of summer. Yeah, towards the beginning of summer. Danielle and me got into like an argument or whatever. She was calling me crying, like, we're done, like, and then I was like, what do I have to do to like be with you? Because this all sounds crazy. And she was like, do you know what emancipation is? And I was like, yeah. And then she was like, you have to get emancipated. That's the only way I'm going to be with you. Danny was telling me, like, your parents are, like, taking all your money, this, that, the other. And so I'm mad. Then the next morning, I wake up, and my mom's literally about to go put, like, a down payment on a new apartment for us. And I'm like, Mom, don't do that. I want to get emancipated. My mom's like, what? Like, you sound crazy. Like, how do you plan on doing that? And I was like, I'm smart. Like, I was just being an ass, like, totally not me at all. And so I go back in my house because she called me out to the car when I told her that. Well, while my mom's parked in the car, my dad's talking to me. And he was like getting mad, like, because like that's taking away like what he's supposed to be, and that's a parent, you know. Like, he has that right till I'm 18, and like that's what frustrated him. Basically, my parents told me, like, go to the courthouse, get the papers, and come back. I was talking to Danny when my parents, like, told me to go get the emancipation papers. John's mom took me to Jen's. I dropped off my dog and my cat. Then I'm staying in an Airbnb in, like, the hills. I Ubered to the Airbnb. Jen was on the phone with my mom, and I was on FaceTime with Danny on my way to Danny. Well, when I got to the Airbnb, Jen was still on the phone with my mom, and my mom was, like, asking her, where's Mikey? Where's Mikey? Jen's like, I don't know. I'm on vacation. Like I have no idea what you're talking about. While I'm sitting right next to her. Like, and my mom has no idea.
That's like straight up like kidnapping. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, she's psycho. I stayed at the Airbnb for a night. Then the next day, she had to go to the studio to make her, I think it's the Mia Moore song. And so she took me to the studio. Well, the person who owns the studio also knows my parents, and my parents had reached out to them. Well, Jen told me to stay in the car and hide in the car. And so I stayed in the car. Halfway through the studio, Jen comes out, and she's like, we need to get you a phone. And I'm like, okay. She takes me to a Verizon store. She buys me an iPhone XR, which is like pretty decent phone. And then she takes me back to the studio. And then I'm just sitting in the car for like 30 more minutes. Then she gets me a hotel for, I think it was like something like 7 days or something. But the reason why she did that was because she said if I was still like on the run during VidCon, that I could just stay in the hotel room and my parents would never know. When I was in the hotel, when my parents were like exposing her on my, like when my parents were logged into my account, exposing her, Danielle is not like the age she says she is. She was calling me, blowing up my phone, saying, you need to go live, you need to talk about your parents. I was like, no, like, the attorney said not to, like, the lawyer said not to, so I'm not going to. And she was like, no, and she was like, if you don't, then I'm not going to be with you. Like, she always would threaten me. But I was so wrapped up that, like, I was like, no, I want to be with this girl. While I was live, like, when I decided to go live, I got a text message from my trap phone that Jen got me. That was how I communicated with my parents, because the police can't track that phone. While I was live, I got a text from my dad saying, you're going to be a felon. It was Danny's birth certificate. Jen had a hotel room across the street from me at a Marriott. I was staying at a extended stay. Also during all this, like, I walked over to her hotel room. All of a sudden, I get another call from my trap phone, this number, which is where I live. It's from the police department. They're like questioning me. They're like, "How old is Danny?" I'm like, 15. Like, they were like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yes." And then, like, the police officer was just like, "All right, well, that's good to know, basically. Don't know her real age." Because little did I know, my mom went into the police department with her birth certificate to make sure that it was real. The police officer was like, "Here, talk to your mom." And my mom was just bawling her eyes out. And Jen's like behind the phone laughing. Like, I have it on speaker and she's behind the phone laughing. Again, my mom still doesn't know who I'm with. She has an idea, but she doesn't know. I was so, like, it was my first relationship. I was so, like wrapped up with, like, everything, like, that I was getting, like, all the gifts I was getting from her and all that, like, all like, the expensive things, all the trips, all the hotels were being paid for. So I was just, like, you know, definitely not myself.
Chad has never felt bad enough for his sister to, like, stop Jen from lying about stuff, you know? Like, it just blows my mind that that doesn't, like, affect him the way that I would expect an older sibling. It's just, like, it doesn't make sense. But everybody else has told me, like, oh, it's because Jen just keeps him high, so he doesn't really care.
Sounds about right.
What was that?
Yeah, I said it sounds about right. Chad, in the conversation used to go, "Mom, can I have money for weed?" "Yeah, can you leave me alone?"